So hi everyone, and today we're going to be doing a quick flow class for when we're short on time, perhaps when we wake up in the morning and we want a quick stretch, or after work. So we're going to move through the poses quite quickly and we're going to have a quick Shavasana at the end. So we're going to start today in tabletop pose. So we're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders and we're going to bring the knees underneath the hips. So just take a moment to deeply inhale in here and take a really deep exhale. Take a moment to push firmly into the hands, pushing into the pads of the fingers. We're going to tuck the toes under and we're going to lift the sit bones, lift the hips up towards the ceiling, and we're going to pedal it back into downward facing dog. So we're going to start in a wide dog, so taking the feet about mat width apart. We're going to take a deep inhale in here, and as we exhale we take the knees down towards the mat. Inhale to straighten, pushing back into the hands. Exhale to bend. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. And just start to move in your own time with the breath here. Really trying to push into the pads of the hands to really protect the wrists. And we can keep the knees bent as we move into our wide dog. So we're starting to lengthen the hamstrings, we're warming up the spine in a really gentle way. So just take a few more like this on your own. And on your next down dog, you're going to stay up in your dog and you're going to start to bring the feet closer together, hip width apart, starting to pedal out the feet. Inhale deeply through the nose, exhale deeply through the nose. Really nice. So on your next inhale, you're going to lift the left leg up behind you, flex that left foot. You don't need to lift it very far. And as you exhale, you're going to bend the left knee and take it to the outside of the left elbow. Inhale back to center, up, and exhale back down to the elbow. One more inhale up, exhale to the elbow, step it back into downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet, or if it's too much, you can always take it down to tabletop pose, untuck the toes and take a rest here and just start to wiggle out the hips, shaking out the head. So wherever you are, we're going to take a deep inhale and we're going to meet back into downward facing dog. So just take a few moments in your downward facing dog. When you're in downward facing dog, we're really pushing into the hands to protect the wrists. We're trying to externally rotate the shoulders to create some stability. And we can keep a slight bend in the knees so that we've got elongation in the spine and the sides of the waist. So just take a few more deep inhales and a few more deep exhales in your downward facing dog. On the next inhale, lift the right leg up behind you, flex the right foot. You don't need to lift it very far, but as you exhale, you're going to take it to the outside of the right elbow. Inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down. And then step it back into downward facing dog, pedaling out the feet. Once again, you can stay in downward facing dog, or you can take it to tabletop pose and wiggle out the hips. So we're going to take 3 deep breaths here. And then we're all going to meet back down into tabletop pose. So we're going to start to warm up the spine here. So as you inhale, elongate the left foot back behind you, flex the left toes. We want to try to keep the hips stable, so the left hip and the right hip. So try to create some balance here as a straight line between both hips. Flex those left toes and push firmly into the pads of the hands. Take some deep inhales and some deep exhales. We want to avoid sinking down into the wrists and the shoulders, so pushing firmly back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, point the left toe, and as you exhale, you're going to bend that left knee and once again take it towards the left elbow. Inhale back to center. Exhale to bend. Inhale back to center. Exhale to bend. And we're going to move back into tabletop pose, wiggling out the hips. So we're moving quite fast. We're creating some heat, some fire. Inhale to flex the right foot behind you, straighten the right leg. Hips are level. We're pushing firmly into the pads of the hands. Take a deep inhale in here. And a really deep exhale. So you want to make sure that the right hip, the right toe and the right knee is pointing down towards the mat. We're pushing firmly up into the hands to create that stability and avoiding sinking down. Inhale to point the right toe. Exhale to bend. Inhale to point. Exhale to bend. And just take a few more like this in your own time. And then meet back into tabletop pose. Just wiggling out the hips from side to side. Really nice. Take the left wrist off the floor, start to roll the wrist. We've put a lot of pressure in the wrists already. And then lift the right wrist off the floor, the right hand, wiggling out that right hand, and then placing it all the way down. Take a deep inhale in here. As you exhale, step the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Step and wiggle that right knee all the way back. So we're coming into lizard pose. So here we can keep the hands firmly pushing into the floor to create some stability. Or if we want to open up the chest, we can take the left arm up towards the ceiling and we can start to create some waves. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. And keep moving in your own time with the breath as we start to open up the left hip here. Really nice. Option 1 to stay here in our low lizard pose, or option 2, we can tuck those back right toes under, lift the right toes up off the floor and start to rock forward and back. Really nice. Wherever you are, lower that right knee down, take the left knee to meet the right back into tabletop pose and wiggle out the hips. Once again, take the left wrist off the floor, wiggle out the left wrist, take the right wrist off the floor, wiggle it out. Coming back into tabletop pose, take a deep inhale in here. And as you exhale, take the right foot to the outside of the right hand, so perhaps coming off the mat. Wiggle that left knee back a little bit. We're coming into lizard pose, opening up the right hip, stretching out that left hip flexor. So take a moment here and stay in stillness if that's for you. Or perhaps as you inhale, you lift the right arm, you radiate the heart space upwards. And you exhale down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Starting to warm up the spine here. One more. Inhale the arm up. And as you exhale, float that right hand down. Option 1 to stay here with the left knee down. Option 2, lift the left knee up, rocking forward and back. Breathing deeply in through the nose, out through the nose. Wherever you are, we're going to meet back in tabletop pose. So perhaps lowering that left knee down, taking the right knee to meet the left, wiggling out the hips, wiggling out the wrists. Really nice. So we're going to come into one final downward facing dog. So we're just going to push the heels back towards, push the bum back towards the heels. We're really pushing into the toes here. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, just lift the bum and start to pedal out the feet, coming into downward facing dog. Pushing really firmly into the hands or externally rotating the shoulders. We're going to lift the left leg up one more time. We're going to point, flex just a couple of times. Start to roll the left ankle round. And then lower the left foot. Inhale, lift the right foot, pointing and flexing. Rolling the ankle round. Lowering the right foot. We're coming into our final down dog. Take a moment here in stillness in your downward facing dog, perhaps with bent knees if you want to really lengthen the spine. Or perhaps there's a little bit more flexibility, so we're pushing the heels down towards the mat. Take one deep inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to lower down into child's pose. So untuck the toes, bum back towards the heels, stretch out the arms in front of you, forehead and chest melts down towards the earth. So take a few moments in stillness here. in your child's pose. Send the breath into the whole of the back body, allowing the whole of the spine and the back to expand. And as you exhale, allowing the whole of the back body to contract. Sending the breath into the whole of the back body as you expand and inhale. And the whole of the back body to contract as you exhale. So start to reconnect back with the breath. Think about the warmth you've created just in this really short practice. Sending some energy into different parts of the body. Getting the blood and the prana moving around. So if you've got time today, take a few more moments in stillness here in your child's pose. Or perhaps if you've got the time, you want to come into a full Shavasana, lying on the back, palms facing upwards. Wherever you are, I hope you've enjoyed this quick flow, and I hope to practice with you again soon. Namaste.